All right, thanks. All right, well, hello everyone. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Today I'm just giving a tutorial of how to use the application platform. I know at least the folks here, I believe, are all pretty new to the platform, so I'll try to keep that in mind as I'm recording or as I'm giving the overview, but it hasn't changed much in the past 2 years. We're going to distribute the link to the portal. I believe tomorrow, we're aiming for tomorrow, it'll include the recording and a PDF of a PowerPoint slide deck that has all of the factors that we're going to talk through today. So, and I'm dual screening, that's why when I'm talking to everyone, I'm looking this way, so bear with me. Okay. All right, so this is the main portal. It will work, it's built into the website browser. So it works for a variety of browsers, including Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Safari. I've been using Microsoft Edge just because it's the automatic one in my work computer and it works fairly well. The PDF of the PowerPoint that we'll be sending around does include like the full list and versions of what works best with this particular portal. So if that's of concern to you, you can take a look at that. We recommend, because anytime you open up one of the documents in the browser, it does end up being a pop-up. So we recommend you disable pop-up blockers before you get started. And sometimes, as you can see here, the text is a little small, so you can zoom in if you'd like using Control+, zoom out using Control-. So for folks who've registered on the HPC's ACO certification portal previously, you can log in using the same email and email address and then the existing password if you can remember it. If you don't, feel free to email Mike or I. You can use this forgot password form, but it's just as easy as well to send an email to myself or Mike Stanek, the deputy director on our team. You can also email our standard certification email, hpc-certification@mass.gov. If you haven't registered an account previously, you'll have to request credentials this year. So I will show you how to do that. So you come to the portal and you choose request access to site. There you go. So it says, as you see here, create account. You'll have to fill out all of these sections. So email address, you can type in a password, verify that. Your name, first and last, work phone number, and your organization name. That'll help us assign the ACO ID that helps connect your particular account with the application itself. And you fill out the CAPTCHA here and click submit. So then a pop-up will confirm that that the form has gone through. If that pop-up doesn't happen and you don't receive an email confirming that the submission was successful, you may need to do it again. That's happened to me a few times with testing, so just double check. Okay, sorry about this. Let's go back to the page. Okay, so it may take us a day or so to formalize your profile for the portal, and you'll get a notification once your credentials are confirmed, and then you can log in here. So you go back to the home page for the login, fill out your email address and password, and I'll show you what happens for the first time you log in. You'll be prompted to reset your password. You don't have to actually use a new password. You could just write in the old one, but just so you see what the prompts will be, let me go through it. So. Okay, so you can see here, you'll get 3 different security questions. So fill these out as you would like. Okay, you click submit and you'll be brought to the next page to change your password. Again, you don't need to change it. You can keep it the same. So you just type in your current password that you signed up with, and you can do the same one. Oops. I guess I can't type and talk at the same time. There we go. Okay, so we have sort of a set of dummy documents that you'll see has a lot of information filled out. Most of the content that you'll see today will not be filled out for yours, but I'll try and identify what should be pre-filled versus what you'll need to fill. So let me do a quick sort of I'll give you some guidance on how to read and use this portal itself. So you can see here there's 3 tabs: the intent to apply tab, the ACO application tab, and then a tab that is meant so you can access previous documents. So anything that was submitted in previous applications, you can get here. And I'll show you briefly later how to go about that. But to start with the intent to apply section, you'll see you can scroll down here. There are 3 boxes. The form completion box here that you see, by form, it's just the portal's way of saying the let's say document. It's the intent to apply a number that's associated with this particular intent to apply. There's also a form number for the ACO application. So let's say something happens in the system and you need to create a brand new document, either intent to apply or a new application. It's unlikely that would happen, but you would know which one to work on by looking at the form number that's assigned. So the form completion section means that it's with you folks, the ACOs, ready to be filled out. Once you submit submits the ITA or the application, it'll go to awaiting HPC review. Once it's reviewed and approved by the HPC, it'll be in this final section here. So to open the intent to apply, you just double click on the name, any one of these sections here. As you can see, it does open up a smaller window that you'll want to expand. And let me just double check my notes. Mike, please interrupt if I've forgotten anything too. Okay, great. So let me show you the intent to apply form. It'll look like this. We set up sort of an early version for you folks that includes here on the left the applicant information. But this is all that will be filled out ahead of time. So just the applicant information with the organization name, the ID, the main address, and the tax identification number. There's also, this is where you'll fill out the applicant public contact info section. This is the sort of person that will be represented publicly that the HPC can use in public facing communication as to who should be contacted about ACO cert or ACO business. The primary application contact section here, this will be the email that receives all notifications from the portal about the application. So whoever is going to be the main person filling out the application should be listed here. You can also have multiple folks from your organization sign up and create a profile and have access to edit the application. But the primary application contact is the main person that the HPC will work with to facilitate the application process. If your ACO has any component ACOs, this is where you'll add the name, the legal name or doing business as, and the TIN here. Very important, this is where you'll fill out the prerequisite attestation. So these are all the legal things that need to be in place before you can achieve certification. So this is things like you've obtained certificates for the risk-bearing provider organizations from the Department of Insurance. Any material change notices are up to date, antitrust, adherence to antitrust laws, that sort of thing. So in order to get your ITA approved, you will have to fill these out as yes. And then when you're ready, you can click submit here. Some buttons at the top that I'll highlight here, and then you'll see are also part of the application. The save button is really important, especially if you're filling this out, you're not sure if it's ready to be submitted, so you want someone else to see it, you can save it. You can also print a copy as well. The refresh button is always helpful, especially for the application, less so here. And the documents button as well will be useful for the application. I'll show you that in a bit. Okay, so next let's go into, oh, and then when you submit the ITA itself, it'll be sent to the HPC for review. We aim to turn around in 2 business days. If we have any questions, we'll be sure to reach out to you as well. We try to be in close communication. Mike, before I move on, anything else you would like me to add about the ITA?
I don't think so.
Great. Okay, so it's very similarly structured to the ITA section. The ACO application is in this middle tab here. When you first log in and you have the ITA in the form completion box, you won't have an application open or available yet. So this is generated once the ITA is approved by the HPC. You'll receive an email sort of stating that the ITA has been approved and the application is available. You'll see it here. The form number is typically different from the ITA form number. So they really are assigned to individual forms and documents. So again, to open it, double click. And you may need to enlarge the browser again. So I'm going to walk you through and sort of show you how to navigate the application. It is built to align very clearly with the PUG, the application requirements guide. But let me walk you through again. So the buttons at the top, we have the save button, which is important, especially if you're working with multiple people at the same time in the portal. I know that doesn't happen too often, but if it does, I highly recommend clicking save every time you do. You make some changes. Refresh also if something isn't populating swiftly, that's helpful. The document section here demonstrates all of the things that you've uploaded to the platform. So it's an easy way to double check what you've uploaded and if you need to add anything else. And then again, print is another one that is often used. So similar to the other page, these tabs sort of help you navigate through the different sections of the application. The main tab here is the confidentiality section where you highlight what can be shared publicly or not with the general public. And your prerequisite attestations will be pre-populated here, as well as anything else you've included in your ITA. This section is pretty important, the PDF review copy here. So this will include a PDF that is generated to include all of the information in the application. It should look similar to the PUG, including has most of the questions and the sort of responses and attachments that you've submitted. So it's a great way for you to make sure you've submitted everything correctly, and then also share it throughout your organization before you officially submit it to the HPC. The number 1 here doesn't change, though every time you create a PDF review copy, you'll get a brand new version here. And I believe older versions are saved within the platform. So if you ever need to find an older version, we should be able to look it up. So prerequisite uploads, this will include the governance structure, risk contracts. So as you see here, these boxes that are towards the right are where you will upload attachments to any of the sections. So to upload, well, I'll do a broad navigation and then I'll show you the upload later. So, text boxes here are helpful to describe any of the attachments and also answer any questions that are text-based. There are a few sections where we've provided templates within the platform itself that you can download. These are also on our website in case it's easier to download there. But if you're in the application, you want to just open it quickly, you can do so here. So the risk contract template is a good example. It's a little counterintuitive, but you don't download it by clicking the import button with the arrow. You just double click here. And then it'll show that it's downloaded in a separate file up in your browser. You can then save it to your SharePoint or file system as necessary. And then to upload it, you would do it here in these upload attachment sections. Some of the questions for the application include checkboxes. They're pretty straightforward for these. You can select as many as necessary to sort of meet the standard criteria. And then there's also another template here that you will need to download. One thing I'd like to show you is in the supplemental information section. We've provided text boxes for a number of the checked boxes to describe your response. But one thing I want to note, as you can see here, it's this population health management response has text filled out in the text box. But if you uncheck the box and then recheck it, your original text does not repopulate. So you'll need to fill that out again if that occurs. Okay. I'll show you now how to upload some documents to the application. So as I've mentioned over here, these sort of squares to the right are the place where you can upload any documents. To open them, if they're already attached, you double click, and then you're able to download them again. To upload, you click the upload button. Occasionally, as you can see, it takes a little while to do some of the tasks. You attach by going to the choose file button up here. All of the attachments end up being renamed to whatever the system has built in. But you can write here sort of a document description so that you can reference and know which attachment is. If you've attached multiple documents to a section, you can sort of notice which one is the one you intended to upload. So this is sort of standard method of attachment. You go to choose file, you select your file, and then you click import here on the bottom right. So one thing, as you can probably see, when you upload a document, it brings you back to the top of the form of the tab that you're on. So we are now at the top of the assessment criteria tab. We'll have to scroll down to the AC1 section to see to confirm that the upload went through. Sometimes if it's not showing right away, you might want to press refresh. When you refresh, it also brings you to the top of the form that you're on. Okay, so let's say you attach too many documents or you've updated one, you want to delete it. What you'll do is you'll double click the document. And this is not super intuitive. We do have this particular process described in the slide deck we'll be sending around. But to delete something, you go to process here, workflow systems task, and then this HPC ACO Cert delete. And then this is the confirmation. The delete was executed on 1 items. Press OK. Close out and then refresh again. And it should be deleted then. As you see here, now we have 2 instead of 3 documents. One thing I should have mentioned earlier, in this section down here, this is where we've added a note as to what the attachment is. So this is how, if you don't know which document was saved, and you write a note in that section as you're saving it, this is where it'll show up. Okay. Mike, anything else on uploads that are is worth describing here?
I don't think so.
Okay, great. Okay, so one thing, well, I've already showed the document, so I think that's great. So I've mentioned the PDF review copy. This is sort of a great way for you to track what you've uploaded to the application and filled out, and sort of see how complete it is. Share it with anyone within your organization for review. The way to do this is you can see these buttons on the side, which I'm realizing that I didn't describe earlier. These are pretty important buttons. You have the sign button, which will bring you to the page where you formally sign that that everything you've submitted is up to date and you're ready to submit it. The create PDF review copy, which I'm about to show you now, which creates the PDF copy. And then a button for withdraw. It's hopefully very unlikely that any of you will need this, but if you do decide to withdraw your application, you would press this button here. None of them are irreversible as well. Once something's withdrawn or requested to withdraw, the HPC has to review and approve. So if you click it by accident and something happens, we can always fix it. So to create the PDF review copy, you just click here. And this tends to take a while. And I'm realizing now I didn't mention one thing with the attachments. Overall, attaching a PDF, anything in the Microsoft suite is easy to upload, and there aren't any issues when it's being generated as part of the packet creation, as it's called, for this PDF review copy. But if you submit something that may be a really large Excel file or something complicated or exotic, it may mess up the PDF review copy itself. So as you see, it took a little while for it to generate, but the way you can access it is on the main tab. You scroll down to the PDF review copy, and you should be able to open it up here. So you just open it by double clicking, and it will be displayed here. So you can review it here. You can also save it as well. So to save your PDF review copy, you want to go to Document, Send to, File, and then you'd save as a PDF, press Save. And then it'll be downloaded onto your computer. You'll likely have to open it and resave it into the sort of specific folder you'd like, but that is how you download the PDF review copy. So this is a sort of an important section of the PDF review copy up top. It's where the form, so the specific application itself, is highlighted here. 104 is the one in this mock one we've been using. This form version that you see is how you'll know which PDF review copy you're working with. So we've generated 7 PDF review copies. Theoretically, things have changed over those 7 versions. And so you'll know you're looking at the most accurate and up-to-date one by the form version. And then also, we do have a date that's auto-populated up here for a review copy. So once anything's generated, it'll have that date there. Same with when you submit the application, it'll look very much like the PDF review copy. And instead of saying review copy here, it will say that it's your submitted application. So this, as I described, populates all of the information submitted into the application system. We tried to include any particular questions or content relevant to the responses in here, so it really reads as like a question and response and is a logical document for you to use. There are page numbers, and then one thing I want to show is when you do check boxes here, they display as an X within a square. So that's how you know if something has been selected or not in the check boxes. This here is a table of contents that is clickable, so you can click on it and it brings you right to the document or the section that you're looking to access, which is great. And it should have searchable text as well. You can see this is how it displays when you have an Excel document uploaded. So hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. All right, so, and I will say down here, there's this note section You don't need to use this at all. Sometimes you'll be prompted to, if you're submitting something or something's returned to you, it'll highlight sort of the date that it's returned and the reason, but it's very unlikely anyone would use this. But in case you're wondering what this section is for, it is for that. So once you're ready to finalize and submit your document, you make sure the affidavit of truthfulness is signed by going to the sign button up top. So let's say, you can see I've been watching the Gilmore Girls lately. So you'd fill out the first name and last name and title of whoever should be the person signing the affidavit of truthfulness, and you click save. This button now is turned from save to submit. And so once you're ready to submit, you then click it. You'll be prompted with this, are you sure you're ready to submit the application? You can toggle yes if you're ready, no, you'll be sent back to the application portal here. If you click yes and save, it'll then show you that it's executing the task. It may take a while to generate the final PDF and then pass it on into the HPC's purview. I will show you too how things move throughout the portal homepage, but this is how it sort of, now you see the buttons on the right are no longer there. That's how you know that the application has been submitted to the HPC and it's in its final form. Okay, so as you see, the form, the application itself has moved from this form completion box into awaiting HPC review. Once it's reviewed and approved, it will be down in this final box of reviewed by HPC. And then one final thing I'm realizing I didn't go over is this access previous documents. You likely won't need many to utilize this, but just in case you want to look at what you've submitted previously, you can download previous documents. You just go to this section, click search, and everything that's been submitted by your ACO in previous years will be listed here. The responses do align with what the criterion or the criteria was in previous years. So AC1 from 2023 will be for that particular response, not this year's content related to AC1. So just remember that with the naming conventions. And then to download, just like before, you double click, and then you should be able to save it by going to document, send to file, and then save. And it should save onto your computer. I think that's it. Maybe we can switch to questions if folks have any pressing questions that they are wondering about now. I'll stop sharing my screen. Mike, is there anything else you can think of that we should mention?
No, I think that was a good overview, Courtney. And it gets more intuitive as you use it. And the guide that Courtney's going to send around will be very helpful for any functions related to the portal.
Great. Well, if there are no other questions, we can stop recording and